The unboxing experience is pretty straightforward. I bought the base variant 12 to 56. The other SKUs are on screen right now. Once we open up the box, we have a black insert. This houses the SIM tool, regular leaflets, and a hard shell case. Let's now get to Xiaomi's first gen flip phone, the Mix Flip. I picked up the black SKU. Xiaomi also offers this in white, purple, and there's even a nylon fiber option. That one is supposed to be slightly thicker but lighter. Anyways, here's how the Mix Flip looks with the case on. I've not yet peeled off the stickers. Notice how the camera bump is protected. Nice. We then have a USB Type-A to Type-C cable with orange accents and a 67-watt hypercharge adapter. Now before we continue, if this is your first time here or in case you just can't remember, my name is Ash, you're watching C4eTech, and let's continue on with the Mix Flip. It's all about this panel, isn't it? 4-inch 460 ppi covered by Dragon Crystal Glass aka Longjing Glass, 120Hz, AMOLED, sharp, smooth, also bright. It output around 1300 nits, though I could only test the 16:9 area of the screen. Do know that all 4 edges are curved here, and the curve radius for the corners, it varies for the top and bottom. Now yes, the Mix Flip is a first gen product and there are some areas where that inexperience shows, but the software, especially for the outer display, they seem to have actually put some thought into it. So unlock and you jump straight to a list of apps. To add to this list, you need to actually open up and access the display on the inside, but you get to use most apps from here. I really like the implementation. The apps, they run 16:9 mostly. The area below or above the cameras, depending on the orientation, that has widgets. And the colors here, they get matched to the apps in use. Like see this weather and it's blue, YouTube and it's white, Firefox and it goes dark. There's also supposed to be a recent apps widget for us to quickly jump between apps on the cover display. For now, it's only available on review units. Us consumers should be getting it mid-August via an OTA update. Anyways, the fact that apps run 16:9 means they adapt very well to this display. Swiping through reels or shorts on this panel, it's pretty nice. And when you need to use the keyboard, here's something interesting. For the inner screen, you can swap and choose any keyboard you want, like I have Gboard set up here. But for the cover display, you can only use Xiaomi stock keyboard, and there is good reason for that. See this? Pretty cramped, right? Now when I flip the phone around, the keyboard uses the entire space available, and it even has a nice curve around the cameras. This way, it's spacious enough to type in relative comfort. While I would have definitely loved Motorola's use everything on the cover display way of doing things, I feel Xiaomi is a close second, much less restrictive than some of the competition, though you can't add games or even the Play Store to the cover screen. Now it is worth keeping in mind that these are early days and Xiaomi seems to be working on software for the cover display. As of now, they say they've optimized it for 200 apps. Like, look at this Chinese music app. See how the area between the cameras acts as a visualizer? Neat, right? There are also plenty of lock screen options. You have multiple pets to choose from. These don't add any functionality per se, but man, are they cute. Which one do you like the best? Let me know in the comments. Also note you can set up 9 different scenes for your lock screen. Now once you've added 9, the Mix Flip is gonna need you to delete at least 1 before you can add more. And once you've set it up, you can swipe at the bottom of your lock screen to cycle through the scenes. And with pets, you can just tap to see different animations. It's pretty cool stuff. Now with the static lock screens, some of them are divided into different segments. Of course, all of them come with a big camera icon. Since using the rear camera for selfies, it's one of the most alluring features of a foldable, especially for flip phones. Now with these choices, you can further customize by choosing a style and swapping the wallpaper for it. Hell, you can even go into the gallery and choose any picture that you've taken, and when you do, even if it's not a portrait image, the subject gets cut out of the pic. If you turn the depth effect off, it gives you your actual picture that you shot. Another cool feature is dual screen translate. Now this phone is running the Chinese firmware, so it doesn't let me use Chinese for the outer screen or English for the inner screen because it's meant for Chinese people when they travel abroad. But as you can see, it does pick up English quite well. Now notice how you have the slit above the display? That's for another earpiece. And below you have a mic. So if you want, you can take calls without even flipping the phone open. Nice, right? And also the battery capacity. You know what? Let's take a look at some of the competition. This is Motorola's Razr 50 Ultra. It has a 4000 mAh battery. The Z Flip 6, same capacity. The Oppo Find N3 Flip, 4300 mAh. The Nubia Flip, 4310 mAh. The Vivo X Flip, 4400. And then we have this. Xiaomi's Mix Flip comes with a 4780 mAh battery. So the Mix Flip has amongst the highest capacity battery for this form factor. Using the included 67-watt charger, you can get this from 0 to 30 in just 10 minutes, and a full charge takes about 45. This higher battery capacity in this sleeker form factor, now that comes at a cost, which is the lack of wireless charging support. Talking about the form factor, the Mix Flip, it's just 7.6 millimeters thick when open, 16 millimeters when folded, and it weighs in at a little over 190 grams. So it's pretty easy on the hands, especially given that 74 millimeter width. And the back, it's matte glass, smooth, slippery, but doesn't pick up fingerprints or smudges. Now the hinge, this is one area where I think the Mix Flip feels most like a first-gen product. It can't stay upright at as wide an angle range as the competition. And in the middle, there's this entire range where it feels too weak, not too stiff. The crease on the inside is well managed though, not really visible head on. Of course, you can see it when light reflects off it, and you can feel it when you touch it. Now this is a 6.86-inch LTPO AMOLED panel with a variable refresh rate of 1 to 120 Hz. It's got the same pixel density as the cover display at 460 ppi. This one's covered by ultra-thin flexible glass. It has 2160Hz PWM dimming under low light for eye protection, and it outputs about 1050 nits of brightness. Under the hood, the Mix Flip is powered by Qualcomm's flagship Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, and it actually pulled in better numbers than its largest stablemate. That said, the Mix Flip, it's still a compact foldable phone, meaning it's prone to heating up. That's 47 degrees it hit in just a little over 4 minutes after I started a stress test. That's when I got a prompt saying the phone was overheating, and seconds later the test crashed with this message. So guys, you aren't gonna be getting the usual 8 Gen 3 performance here. I'm just setting expectations. For regular use though, it works well. HyperOS, it's responsive, apps were quick to launch. I didn't notice any major stutters or lag in the limited time I've spent with this phone so far. It did get pretty toasty while recording video. Talking about which, now I'm sure by this point you'd have noticed this phone has a dual camera setup. It's basically 2 of the 4 sensors we saw on the Mix Fold 4. The same primary 50 megapixel Light Fusion 800, a 1 by 1.55 inch sensor paired with an optically stabilized f1.7 lens. It does very well outdoors under good light. In fact, this was a pretty rainy day, and this is just the sky being overcast, not blown out. As you can see, the details, they're there. You can shoot images with a shallow depth of field like this. There's nice background blur. Even under low light, it managed to do a competent job. And of course, this is a flip phone, meaning a major selling point is being able to shoot selfies via the rear camera. And they turned out really well too. Skin tones were natural, the exposure, the colors, nailed it. The second camera is another 50 megapixel sensor, the OV60A from Omnivision. This is a 1 by 2.61 inch sensor that's paired with a f2 floating lens. This allows for 2x optical zoom and is mainly used for portraits, which turned out fine. But even when you need to use it for reach, this is 4x, pretty usable, right? The max you can go is 20x, and at this point, you can kinda make out what you snapped. The floating lens part of it means it's got a minimum focus distance of 9 centimeters, meaning you can shoot macro shots like this. They turned out really nice. For video, you can shoot 8K via the rear camera, and once again, there is that slight EIS jitter. It's not as obvious with 4K 60. Now here's something super weird. When you swap to the front display and shoot, for some reason you can't shoot 8K anymore, not even 4K 60. I really don't get the reasoning behind this. So if you use the rear cameras, your selfie video tops out at 4K 30. With the selfie camera on the internal display, you can shoot 4K 60. Why? I feel Xiaomi's been having this EIS jitter issue like forever, and it's like they just don't want to fix it. Anyways, the selfie camera is 32 megapixels f2. It does a fair job with the selfies. Now before we jump to the pricing, Xiaomi has also launched a portable printer add-on for the Mix Flip. Looks interesting. You just slot the flip into it, fold it, take a picture, print it out. You get a kind of Polaroid printout. This photo printer is priced sensibly at just 499 RMB, about $65 US or 5700 rupees Indian. But with these printers, it's the photo paper that gets pretty expensive. So anyways, this is the Mix Flip, Xiaomi's first flip phone. Now in China, this phone, it starts from 59.99 RMB. Now that converts to about $825 US or 70,000 rupees Indian. For this price, the Mix Flip has its strengths: excellent display, solid battery, competent cameras, strong software for its outer display, but at the same time, it does have its fair share of cons, a weak hinge and software quirks with videos among other things. But overall, I feel the Mix Flip, it's a net positive. So what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Ash, out.